good morning. Welcome to the Warrior's Way. Our warrior this week is Dan Armstrong. Say good morning.
Good morning.
All right, before we get to him, if this is your first time, please go to spiritualwarfareunit.com on YouTube. Like and subscribe to our list. And if you know anybody that's struggling, needs food or clothes or baby formula or church to go to, please have them click on struggling. And on there, we have over 20 different nonprofits just in the Genesee County area and 20 different things in Shiawassee that they can click onto to help with free or next to free. So help us, help others, help you, and be the help that someone's looking for. All right. So Dan is our community warrior of the week, and we actually went to high school together.
We did.
All right, and that's how we originally met. And then we had a mutual friend who put us together, and he is doing some amazing stuff. And I do not want to steal your thunder, but let's start off with you grew up in the Flint, Davison area?
I grew up in Ortonville, so northern Oakland County, even though we were so close to Flint. We always did our shopping in Pontiac for some weird reason.
Wow. Really nice down there.
Really nice. Exactly right. I know when you compare Pontiac and Flint, it's like pretty much the same.
Yeah,
Pontiac's a little bit bigger.
All right, and there was now you had brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. Where did you fit in that?
Sure,
mix?
I'm the Peter Brady of the bunch.
Nice.
I have an older brother, younger brother, and then we have an older sister.
I love that you use Brady. That's amazing.
Great show.
All right, so growing up. What was your passions? Did you do sports or what?
Yeah, so I tried sports. You and your brother were much better soccer players than I am.
Wow,
it's true. It's just I told you I'm going to be authentic today.
Yeah, that's great. I would hope so.
I always enjoyed basketball. Got into soccer because the school we went to loved soccer, and you had to play soccer to be,
the cool kids.
The cool kids, I guess. Yeah. Whether you liked it or not, or whether you were good at it or not. So played soccer, enjoyed, and I finally got a good feel for that. It's an acquired taste, but I enjoyed soccer, but I enjoyed basketball even more. And then later in life, I got into even post college, like into my career, I really started to enjoy running. Yeah. So I've ran the Crim since 2006, I believe, every year. I've done a couple half marathons. I've done 2 full marathons. All right,
before you get into that, so you did running and you like sports, you like basketball. Okay. What year did you graduate?
1997.
1997. All right. So
and you were 94, so
94, yep.
3 years, yep.
So before 1997, was there anything in your path that had put you on to your career passion at a young age?
Yes, 100%. When I was 9 or 10 years old, I wanted a dual cassette deck radio stereo kind of thing.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because I wanted to be a radio announcer. I wanted to record myself, and maybe it would eventually end up on the radio. Before even that, I really enjoyed being in plays, doing productions. My Christian school did Patch the Pirate. They did a Patch the Pirate adaptation. I was in 3rd grade, and it is still one of my favorite memories was being Patch the Pirate. And my second cousin was in the production. A lot of my still very current friends were in that production.
Cool.
And I really enjoyed being in front of people and talking. And there is a thing called glossophobia. So glossa means tongue, phobia means fear of, and
fear of the tongue?
Fear of public speaking.
Okay,
fear
all right.
of public speaking. And I don't have that. If there was no one that listens to this. Really? I mean, we're nominal, but it's one of those things where even if no one was watching this, I would still be doing this. This is fun. I enjoy this. I enjoy talking. I enjoy being in front of people. So Christmas productions, plays, that kind of stuff. Even into college, I got into that. So I think from a very young age, God had given me the desire to be in front of people and talk to people, to communicate, to perform. I was very encouraged by my family to, hey, you seem to enjoy that. You should do that more. There's got to be something, later in life for that.
So you graduate in 97,
Yep.
And then you go directly into college?
Yes. Actually, no. I took a year off to make some money before I got, or no, I'm sorry, no, I got right into it because there was a time during college that I sat out a little bit.
All right,
I don't even know my own story, Isaac. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. Listen,
I got right into it in the fall, and that's a good story too. I had $3,000 in my bank account.
Nice.
And I think a year's worth of college was around $10,000 at the time.
Outstanding.
So I had $3,000. I went down there, and the funny thing is, and this is all the Lord too. They canceled my registration because I had registered, but I didn't follow up or something. So I get down there and they're like, "Who are you?"
Yeah. And why are you here?
Why are you here? And I said, well, I signed up. And they're like, "Well, you didn't follow up, or I didn't do something." So
which college was it?
Bob Jones University in Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah. Okay.
So I show up, and no fault of their own. It was clerical, So I get up there, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't have a place for you." So it's like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, "I have nowhere to stay. I'm homeless." So I go to college, and I end up homeless. So the dorms usually had 3 guys to a dorm, but they put me in one where it was just 2 guys, and they were bummed because they're like, "Oh, we only had 2 people here, and now we got you." So
thanks for tagging along.
Right, exactly.
Tag along, guy.
So I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't even be at college. Maybe this is a sign that I shouldn't be here. But even the way we got down there. My family struggled financially.
Yeah.
We didn't have a vehicle to drive us down to college. And it was about a week or 2 before we were going to head down with everything. And we're like, I guess we're not going to go. It was a holiday weekend. It was Labor Day weekend, and it's like all the places are either booked or that kind of stuff. And we got the word out on prayer chains that, hey, the Armstrong family would, they need some kind of transportation to get down to college.
Yeah.
So a few days before, we get a call from Inner City Baptist in Allen Park. And they say, "Hey, we heard that you guys need some transportation." We're like, "Oh, sweet. Do you have like a church van or that kind of thing?" They're like, "Well, something else came up. We have someone in the church who is an auto dealer, and they just sold 4 brand new Range Rovers to Greenville, South Carolina. Would you mind delivering those for us?" Like
the Range Rovers.
The Range Rovers. These are $80,000 vehicles in the late 90s. Yeah. And we're getting down there, and we're sweating like crazy. And we're like, "Why is it so hot in here?" It's the heated seats. Turn the heated seats off. And then we're riding like this, and I'm like, "Why is the front so high in the back?" Like, "Oh, it's the optional off-roading." Someone put that up. It's like, we don't know what we're doing. We're
it has more options than you have.
Yes, exactly. So that was a funny story. So God got us down.
So you got down there, and what was your major?
So major was radio and television broadcasting, because I really enjoyed, and even in high school, there was a drama debate class that Jesse was in as well. And I really enjoyed that too, excelled at that. And you know how difficult the teacher was at the time. And I did well in that class. So I'm like, okay, if I can do well in that class, then maybe there's a future in this.
Right.
So I enjoyed those kind of productions, got into college, worked like crazy, worked on campus, off campus, because I only had a third of my bill paid with the money I had. But was able to do the campus radio station, TV station, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, this is it. They had a career, it's called the Leadership Institute in Washington, D.C. It's still there. And after doing that, after listening to one of the guys who was a news anchor, I'm like, this is it. I am called to do this. I want to do news, And then even some of the instructors there were like, "You sure you want to do this? I mean, do you have a good enough look for this?"
Wow.
Like, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's great."
I get told all the time I have more of a face for radio, but I'm like, are you sure?
So. Well, that was that was more hair and fewer pounds ago for me too. So I was a little better. But so anyway, so we get through college, and then it's like, okay, how do you get on TV? It's just like, how does that happen? I guess you got to know the right people and everything. So after college,
So what year was that, by the way?
So I graduated in 2001. Yep.
Okay.
So 2001, and able to pay my school bill off. Didn't have any debt.
Good for you.
Lord. It wasn't time being. It's all the Lord's money. So I had really good teachers financially. So that's what I think has carried me this far. So I took about a year off and just worked, did some side jobs, bought a car, sending my resume tape out. I think I sent out maybe 200 resume tapes because the television news business, and your producer knows this very well, broadcasting has the lowest entry-level pay that requires a college degree.
Right.
So everyone in the trades is making more than people entry-level broadcasting because everyone wants to do it. So it's a supply and demand. There's so few jobs and so many who want to do it. They don't have to pay well because if you're gonna do it cheap, then go for it. So I was sending out my tapes everywhere, and then I got contacted by someone in the Upper Peninsula, and he says, "We have an opening in news." I wanted to do sports, but they said, we have a thing in news where in our Escanaba bureau. I had no idea where Escanaba was. I didn't know if it was.
It's in the moonlight.
It's somewhere. It is in the moonlight. Yes, a terrible movie. Just awful. It's one of those so bad it's good kind of things.
Hold on, before you get in the story, because I want to hear the whole thing. We got to go to our first break.
Okay.
I want to thank you for coming in. If this is your first time to UCAN Studios, please like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you know someone struggling with drug rehabilitation, please have them go to UCANMichigan.com. You sit tight. We'll be right back. Taking a quick break from our podcast, I wanted to let you know about our life application program that we have for churches and nonprofits in the area that are trying to find programming that they can use in case the corona shuts you down and you're not able to get in. You go to spiritualwarfareunit.com. You click on our episodes, and you can check out our programs for as little as $29.99 a month to make sure that we're still getting the word out to those people that need it. Now, back to the program. All right, welcome back to our community warrior this week. His name is Dan Armstrong, and he is from Covenant Eyes. The website is covenanteyes.com. As you can see it, you can check that out. He was just getting into his college and first job in Escanaba. So, do they really speak like
they do?
They have that Canadian accent. So you must have sounded.
Wisconsin. It's a little bit of both. It's Canadian and
wow,
and some Swedish. There's a lot of Swedish. There was a program on Sunday mornings that was entirely Finnish. I'm sorry. Yes, not Swedish. I'm sorry. Thank you for that correction. Finnish. Yes, it was. So there's Finn influence, Canadian, Wisconsin, Minnesota, kind of.
Okay,
all put together.
So you're doing that, and you took the job, and that is where exactly?
Sure, it was in Escanaba, so right downtown on Ludington Street, and we shared a studio with a radio station too, and it was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I guess I'm going to do news. So I got to know Escanaba really well, and really enjoyed it. Had an apartment right next to the high school. And I really started to enjoy news. And I was thinking, I really wanted to do sports because sports doesn't have all the, politics and all the, people beating up their wives and everything. And I'm like, well, yeah, it does. I'm like, so what's the difference between sports and news? You're just talking about different people. Some are highly paid to put a ball in a hoop and some aren't. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe this news thing will work out. So you meet a lot more people through news, and there are more opportunities because if you look into a broadcast team, there may be 2 or 3 sports people, and you've got 20, 30 news people. So I'm like, okay, the odds are better that you could get into news.
Gotcha.
So really enjoyed it, and I'm probably 6 months into it, and for one reason or the other, the weekend anchor was let go. So they said, hey, well, what would you think about being a weekend anchor? I'm like, oh, sweet. So I drove up to Marquette, and so I was doing that for about 4 months. And really enjoyed it. Loved it.
Okay.
Loved it. So I was reporting 3 days a week and anchoring the weekends. And you'd also kind of manage the weekends because the main bosses weren't in there. So you had a reporter that you would help, with, and a meteorologist. So I really enjoyed that. And then our high school had, and I don't even know if you went to this, it was the 25th anniversary of the school. I don't know if you remember.
I was there, yes.
You were there. Okay, cool.
I was there.
Awesome. So we go in the gym there, and they're talking and everything, and it was my first time south on the Mackinac Bridge. It was the first time in the Lower Peninsula in a long time because I didn't have much vacation time. I was the new guy. So I get down there, and I have some friends that I interned with at Channel 12 at the time, and I said, hey, I'm in town. Do you guys want to do anything? And he's like, oh, you're in town. Okay, great. So and he was working at 25 at the time. Yeah. And he said, let me call you back in a couple minutes. I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. Yeah. So he calls back, and he's like, what were your plans again? I said, I was thinking of maybe going to Cedar Point, or, I just went to our 25th, high school reunion kind of thing. Right. And he's like, you're not going to Cedar Point tomorrow. And I said, why is that? And he's like, because you got a job interview here. Wow. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Wait a minute, lady.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, so they call them DMAs, are the areas of, so New York is number 1, Los Angeles number 2, Chicago, or DC. All those ones are really, top 5. Detroit was like 9 at one time, and it slid down to maybe 13 or 14. Flint was maybe 64 at the time. The Upper Peninsula was like 188. Alpena was like 200 something. Yeah. So to jump from 180 something to 60 something is a really big deal. And normally you would have to have several years or several jobs in between to make that kind of jump. So I walk in there and I'm like, okay, so I have a t-shirt and flip-flops. It's the summer. And I'm like, so thankfully my younger brother and I are the same size. I borrowed his suit, walked in. Thankfully I had a resume tape and I walk in and I'm just like, this is going to go terrible. It's going to be the biggest embarrassment. So I walk in, not expecting much. And so very nice people, walk me to the back. She's like, okay, let's all watch your resume tape together. So I don't know if you enjoy watching yourself. But most people don't. They don't like to hear their own voice. They don't like to, but it's fine with me because I'm kind of used to it. So we popped it in and we're sitting there. It's me and the news director and the executive producer. And we're just watching this. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going pretty well because they watched the entire thing. Normally it's, if they don't like it, it's a couple seconds and they're like, okay, thank you. Have a nice life.
Your voice sounds nasally.
You're terrible. Right.
Yeah. So I've had better.
Exactly. I've been better. So we get through the whole thing. And then she turns to me and says, all right, what do you think? And I'm like, I think it was great.
Yeah, right.
What am I going to say?
Right.
I'm like,
no, I suck.
Exactly right. It's like, I'm just terrible.
Right.
I'm wasting your time. Yeah. So she looks back and she goes, two things. Good look, great voice. Yeah. And I'm like, can you reverse those?
Yeah.
I would rather look better than sound better.
Yeah.
So she's like, let me call you in about a week. And I'm like, I'm never going to hear from you again. So we're real nice people. So I drive up there. And within a week, I get a call saying, what's it going to take to bring you down here? And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You sure you got the right person? Going through your files of applicants. I think you may have picked the wrong one.
So how long had you worked up there before this happened? 6 months?
Total of 10 months. I was six months in Escanaba, 4 months in Marquette.
So you're like, this is 2000, this is like 2002, 2003?
Yep, 2002 into 2003. Okay. So, and things are happening. And the interesting thing is, December of 2002, I meet a family that their oldest daughter eventually becomes my wife in this story.
Right, yeah, we can't get to, stop skipping.
Get too fast, sorry.
Get to the so you say, okay, so you go to the, God, jump the story. You guys are killing me. It's okay. This is my job.
Edit that out.
Help me help you. We're not editing. We're moving
pulling
forward.
that onion.
All right, so you get the job. How long before, because you're like, whatever.
Yeah, 23, 24, yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, yeah, whatever. You're not going to get the job. And then how long was it before they got a hold of you?
It was like a week.
A week?
Right. She said, I'll call you in a week. And I'm like, I'm never going to hear from them again.
Yeah.
Then it was a week. And
that was a really nice no.
It was a really nice no. Exactly right. We'll call you. Don't call us. It was a really nice no. So yeah, within a week they called and said, what would it take to bring you down here? So I had to actually buy out my contract. I had to write a check to buy myself out of that to be able to get to.
Wow. So it cost you money to get the job.
Money to get out. I borrowed money to do that. And they're like, you're good for it. We want you down here. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I did pay everyone back and started in July of 2003 and worked there until May, June-ish of 2012.
All right. So you got the job and you're at 25? All right. And you're loving it.
Love it.
Like life. It's great. You're in this area.
Yes. Hometown. Right. I mean, who wouldn't like to work in their hometown?
Okay. So now you got this job. So how did you meet the girl?
Sure. So we met in 2002 in December in the Upper Peninsula. And
doing what?
There was a church up there, Blessed Hope Baptist Church, that on a good Sunday morning, maybe 30 people, 40 people.
Big church.
Mega church. That's called mega churches up there.
Megas.
So my wife is the oldest of 11 children. She has 5 brothers, 5 sisters. So it's hard to miss them and take up a couple pews, especially in a setting like that.
Yeah.
So they have a vacation home up there. So I get invited there. We're playing pool and that kind of stuff. And, there's a lot of brothers there, so I'm hanging out with them mostly. Yeah. And my wife tells a story of, I didn't think he looked at me or even knew I existed or that kind of thing. So, and there were other families there who would say...
Yeah, but hold on. Okay. But when you did see her...
Yes.
What were you like, whoa?
She would say that because
she saw you and was like,
for me, I didn't see. For me, I was blinded by.
She had a lot of brothers, and you didn't want to get beat up.
Well, they were all younger than me and smaller than me. But
it's like dwarfs.
It's a great question.
The little hobbit family in the corner.
Exactly.
All right,
they're gonna take me out by the knees.
That's right.
So I was so blinded by career and moving up.
Oh,
I want to go to bigger stuff that wasn't even on the radar. I didn't have a girlfriend until her.
So how did she come to you or how did that work? Yeah.
Great story. So I'm doing my thing. at Channel 25, and I get a message from her in 2000. It's either 2005 or 2006.
Okay, so that's a couple years into the job.
A couple years into the job, and she said, "Hey, I don't know if you remember our family," and I'm just like, "Oh, it's hard to miss that many kids."
Yeah, I remember the Hobbits.
I remember the Hobbits in the corner there. Yeah. I'm going to tell them you said that.
Yeah, go ahead. It's going to be on video. We'll send it to them.
They're all like 5 feet.
Listen, I'm basing this on the information he's given me.
There you go.
Okay.
There's no other else to go.
She gets a hold of you.
She emails me and says, "Hey,"
just out of the blue,
right out of the blue, total cold call, and they live in Lapeer, North Branch area.
Yeah.
So she was on a committee called Michigan Citizens for Life.
Okay,
and I think it was 2005, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So Michigan Citizens for Life were trying to get a ballot proposal to change the Michigan Constitution to define life as beginning at conception.
Right. Okay.
So she's like, "Oh, I would like to get at least someone who's going to tell a fair story. Hey, Dan Armstrong is back down in Flint. He's not in the UP anymore. Yeah. So let's contact him and see if he's available to cover this event."
Sure.
So I don't go to the event. It's the weekend, so it's a Saturday. So I send a photographer, and he gets some interviews, and we put the story together, and we make it air. And she thanks me, and another year goes by or so. Yeah. And the whole time that's happening, my work email is organized alphabetically. So I never deleted her email. Her name's Amber. So A, the first name, shows up. So every day for more than a year, God's saying, "Hey, stupid." There it is, right there.
There it is.
Have you ever had that? Have you ever had that in your life where it's like something so painfully obvious where God is just like, if I hit you in the head with this, you still wouldn't get it?
Of course. But before we finish that, we got to go to our next break. It's going by quick.
We're teasing very well ahead.
Absolutely. So I can't wait to get to the next part of the section. Sure. If you've not gone to Spiritual Warfare Unit and helped us help others, please like, share, and subscribe. Sit tight. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Warrior's Way. Our community warrior this week is Dan Armstrong from CovenantEyes.com, and he was just getting ready to tell us. So the fact that you're dating had an A name. Every time you brought your emails up, her name was. How long did that happen?
More than a year.
A year it's sitting there, and you're like, yeah, so anyways.
Yes.
So how did it happen?
So what prompted me was I had bought a house in Grand Blanc, and I was flipping it, and I was in the process of selling it pretty quickly. So I'm just like, I'm feeling pretty good. I got some money in my pocket, and I'm just like, that name keeps coming up. So I'm like, I wonder how she's doing, you know?
So you're going to take a step.
I'm going to take a step now. So,
and how long was it from the time she emailed you with this thing to this?
Year and a half, probably between the two.
So she didn't talk to you for a year and a half, and then
she left it.
And then you didn't talk to her for a year.
Correct. She thought, for all intents and purposes, this guy's not interested. He's not. Right. Obviously, we did this thing, and he would have done something or said something if there was something there. And yet, I reach out and just say, hey, you know, I've got a lot going on in my life now. Things are really good. I just sold this house, blah, blah, blah. It's January. I guess it's a new year, new me, apparently. And how are things going? You know, I didn't ask her out.
Hey, how are you?
Nothing. Yeah, how are you? So, because I was in news, you get a lot of freebies a lot of times. So I was given, and we talked from January to March to April, just emailing, not even over. We didn't even meet in person or anything. But she invited me to one of her orchestra performances. Her dad started the Lapeer Symphony Orchestra. So she's like, hey, would you like to come out to one of these things? Sure. So, I got to that, talked a little bit, and then that was that. So, same thing. It's just like, hey, how's it going? We're friends, I guess. We've been talking for a while. Yeah. But there was really nothing else, no real spark or anything there. So eventually in June, I say, hey, I got free tickets to Cedar Point. Would you like to go to Cedar Point? And she's like, oh, you mind if I bring a few more people? And so yeah, absolutely. So there's 4 of us. And we spent the whole day together, and we didn't kill each other, and we didn't annoy each other. So it's like, okay, this is kind of cool. So then a few weeks, a week goes, 2 goes by. Yeah. I invited her to go tennis. I invited her to go, see a movie and all these kinds of things. And coming out of the movie theater at Cinema, what do they call it in Birch Run there? The real nice seats and everything. Cinema Hollywood or what do they
Whatever it is.
What do they call it up there? Yeah. We're walking out, and I put my arm around her and give her kind of a little side hug thing. And she grabs,
side hug.
Give her a little, how we do it.
Yeah.
Mr. Smooth.
Stretch.
Exactly right. Do a little thing. And then she goes down and grabs my hand. I'm like, all right, I guess
there
this is it. Here we go. Didn't need to say anything.
Now, how long was all that?
That was 4th of July. So
it's another 6 months.
We talk right. So from January when we start talking until the hand holding was July.
You know, my favorite part about this story is it went slow.
It went slow, yeah.
It went slow. It wasn't like, oh, there was this pod.
No, it was
They're like,
painfully
no. We went and played tennis. And
well, it gets better. So as much as you enjoy how slow that went.
I did, because like you're building it.
We're married by September, so.
Whoa. Wow.
So it was
You went from hand-holding
to marriage.
Downshifted to downshift to marriage.
That's nice.
That's
awesome. A really good way of putting it. You're right, because you downshifted, you don't put on the brakes.
Yeah, you downshift, watch the RPMs go wham.
That's a really good way of putting it. So we're just like, I'm 28, she's 26. What are we waiting
July, August, September.
Yeah.
So you waited 3 years to talk.
Right.
And then when you figured it out, you're like,
it's 3 months. Exactly. Right, exactly. It's like, what else are we waiting for?
Okay.
So yeah, we get married, and it's just like, okay.
Was it like a big wedding or a small?
No, maybe 20 people in the room. Just a real quick kind of thing. We were virgins on our wedding night. I hate to be that personal, but it's just like, because some people assume, oh, well, maybe you had to.
And
no judgment, judgment.
No basket in the, biscuit in the basket.
No, a lot of people are like that, and they're living very successful lives, and there's no judgment for that, but that's not our case.
All right, so you're how old?
28. So I'm 28.
28
she's 26.
26. Okay, so 28, 26. Basically, and your career's running, and now you're focused on that, and now you got the girl.
Yes, life's really good.
And so your life is like apex, young man.
So you got the job, you got the dream girl, you got the dream job, and everything. Now what? So we get married in 2007. We find out we're pregnant the next month. We find out we're pregnant, which is wonderful.
Really downshifted.
So now we're down. Yeah, now we're down. Right, exactly. Is there anything below 1? No, we're kind of grinding the gears there.
All right.
So we find out we're pregnant, in October. Woohoo, that's great. So that's great. So it's, wife, job, kid on the way. Oh man, the American dream is alive and well.
Yeah.
We're doing great. So tax time comes in 2008.
Yeah.
And if you remember how wonderful a year 2008 was financially.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was really great.
Yeah.
So
if you like maths, it's wonderful.
Well, we were raking in so much money, then the rake breaks because we have so much money, and then we just buy another rake.
Yeah.
No, 2008 was terrible. So 2008
really
comes
bad.
around, and they lay off half the staff at the TV station.
Does that include you?
It does not include me.
Oh, you made the cut.
But I was very fortunate, and I called her in the day, and I said, they're kind of cattle calling people, where it's like overhead pages, and if you walk towards the corner, you don't come back. And it's like, well, this is terrible.
Cattle calling.
It was bad. So people walking back with boxes and tears. And I remember looking back there, and I'm just like, I can't believe how I responded to that, because I wonder if I would respond the same way. Everyone who was there, I said, let's all pray. And not everyone there was a Christian, or not everyone there was religious, and there were several atheists. And I'm just like, you know what? I feel like praying. Let's pray.
Let's just pray, yeah.
And people were crying, and they were respectful, and we prayed, and said, all right, this is the cards that were dealt. So let's move forward from here. So then after that, I'm like, you know what? This is more Amber than me, because I'm just Mr. Optimism, and we're just going to fight through it, that kind of thing. She's like, I think we need to consider options here. I said, I think you're right. So I signed up to do some grad school, thinking, okay, I'm going to have a few more options if I get a master's in journalism. Maybe I can teach it, maybe I can do something else. So that's what we're going to do. So I did that. So I signed up for it, and we had...
And you kept your job.
I kept my job. Yep. So
now, just on a question, because I'm curious about this. Did they do all the firing on one day, so it was done?
Yes, it was done.
Oh, so they didn't hold that sucker out?
No.
If you got to pick.
Right. They weren't. There was no voluntary buyouts or anything.
So before we get into this next one, we're gonna have to wait till next time to get the rest of the story.
It's really good.
If this is your first time in the Spiritual Warfare Unit at UCAN Studios, please like and subscribe. And if you know someone struggling, please have them go click on to struggling, and we have 20 different nonprofits they can get into just in Genesee County area, and we've just added Shiawassee as another group of places. So help us help others, and if you're doing great, always use us if you can to help someone who is struggling. Thank you so much for coming in, and we will get the rest of the story next time. You have a nonprofit in your area that's doing a lot of work that people should know about? Feel free to contact Spiritual Warfare Unit at 810-715-9319, and we would love to have them on to see what good they're doing in the community and find out their story. Thank you so much.
Came down when your love shone through. Now my life to let me stay this way.